For families who are interested in one-on-one sleep consultation services, we offer free 15-minute get acquainted calls. This allows families to tell us what's going on and for us to share how we could be helpful so they can decide if we are the best fit to help their family. It is not uncommon to have a conversation in those calls that is around a parent sharing the fact that the parent on the phone, is thinking that sleep training is the next best step for their family, but that they have a partner who isn't on the same page or doesn't feel the same way. Today, I'm going to share with you all what I often share with these parents. If you and your partner aren't on the same page about sleep training, this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of two. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. It always makes me laugh when we receive a service feedback survey that says something along the lines of, "You may have just saved our marriage," or "You're as good as a marriage counselor." To be clear, I am not a therapist or a marriage counselor, but I can relate to what it feels like to have a marriage under stress from severe sleep deprivation and from not being on the same page about a big parenting decision. And deciding to sleep train can be one of those big parenting decisions. Even considering sleep training may already have a parent or a partner feeling like they're starting to veer off of the parenting style that they had always planned to move forward with. It may also bring up memories from their own childhood, and or they may have seen or read something that has them feeling worried about sleep training potentially damaging, let's say, your attachment with your child. There are many reasons that a parent may not like the idea of sleep training. And as I said in last week's episode, I don't think people need to sleep train their children if they don't think it's the right fit for their child or for them. As with most areas of parenting, I don't think there is one right path. But when I get asked on these calls what a parent should do about the fact that their partner doesn't want to sleep train and they do, I start by being honest about the fact that it is definitely easier and comes together faster when both parents are on board with moving forward with sleep training. I think we all know that it's easier to do something that can feel challenging when we have the support of our partner. And I also think it's helpful when you don't have to fully execute a sleep plan all by yourself. And then after we have that conversation, I try to understand why the one parent doesn't want to sleep train so that we can talk through that a bit and I can see if I can be helpful. Here are a few reasons that I commonly hear about. Sometimes one parent says they don't think the sleep situation is really all that bad. And it's often the case that the parent who feels that way isn't the parent who's handling the bulk of the nighttime challenges and or the incredibly hard naps. In those situations, I often suggest that when it works in the schedules for that parent to tag themselves in so that they are taking care of those wakings, or in the case of a mom who's nursing, the partner is at least up with that mom each time that they're up, and then they can take over post feeding. And this gives the other parent a chance to actually get a sense for what's happening during the night. Sometimes I think our partners might need to walk a mile in our shoes to appreciate a challenging situation. This still doesn't mean that sleep training is necessarily the answer, but it can help when a partner starts to experience just a little bit of what their partner is going through. Another thing I hear about is the concern about veering off track from how a parent thought that they were going to parent or their parenting philosophy as it relates to sleep training. And I so relate to this. There are several things that I was maybe a bit on my high horse about as it relates to how I thought I could parent in certain areas. That is until one of my kids clearly needed something different than the approach or style that I had planned on. And as I became a parent of two children who are polar opposites in so many areas, I also had to learn and I guess realize that what is ideal and worked well for one child may not be what's ideal and works well for the other. So I want to give you two quick examples. My oldest definitely needed more structured sleep training and an approach that suited her personality in order for sleep training to actually work. My youngest, on the other hand, was more naturally inclined to sleep. And while, yes, I handled those early months differently, I was able to guide her to full nights of sleep by the time she was 8 weeks. And I never had to do any structured sleep training with her. Another example is around introducing solids. Before having my first, I was adamant about doing all homemade baby food. And I will say, I crushed it in this department. Things came together exactly how I envisioned them. She was devouring our homemade baby food, and she would try and often liked anything. So when we had our second, I thought, I know how to handle this. I know what to do. And we started to offer her the same homemade baby foods. And she refused to eat any of it. We tried all the tricks and she wasn't having it. And this went on for months. One day, out of desperation, and after the pediatrician suggested, I should say strongly suggested it, I offered her some jarred baby food and she devoured it. I remember then tasting it myself and thinking, this is nasty and super bland. But it was all that she would eat. It was a tough pill for me to swallow, but we ultimately decided to let go of our strong stance on homemade baby food and to feed her pre made baby food. I'm happy to report, however, that when she got older, I worked with a picky eating expert, and she is now a kid who will legitimately try anything and would probably come on here and tell you that she considers herself a foodie. So, in these types of situations, and it can really strongly relate to sleep training, I just like to encourage parents to talk about how hard it can feel to even consider that they may need to take a different approach than the one they thought they would be taking. Again, this doesn't mean that sleep training is the next best step for your family, but I think there is value in working to get on the same page with your partner about whether the approach that you had planned on taking in a certain area is, in fact, working for your child and your family overall. I talk about my parenting mantra, which is reserving the right to change my mind, in episode 124. So if you missed that one and you want to hear a little bit more on this topic, you can go check that one out. When I have parents who are concerned about any possible negative effects of sleep training and or concerned that their child isn't ready, I like to talk through their specific concerns and the source of their concerns. I think having honest conversations about sources, the truth behind popular headlines, and the research on sleep training can help a parent decide if sleep training is, in fact, the next best step for them. Sometimes these 15-minute conversations truly help parents get on the same page about whether they want to sleep train or not. Some parents decide to move forward with a consultation because they are open to me helping them get on the same page through the consultation. And I do think that this can be one of the benefits of working with a sleep coach. You don't need to bicker about the best path forward because a good sleep coach can help you figure that out. And then the parents are agreeing to move forward with the plan that everyone has agreed on. And it also helps remove that second guessing of yourself or of your partner. So sometimes these calls can be very helpful to help get parents on the same page to move forward. And sometimes it can help them get on the same page that this is not the right thing for them right now. And I am always okay with that as well. And then, of course, even after we talk through everyone's feelings on the topic of sleep training, some of these parents continue to not be on the same page. And when that's the case, I always encourage parents to at least try to do everything they can to set their child up for natural sleep success. Sleep success that doesn't require any structured sleep training. So, for example, is your child on a sleep schedule that naturally optimizes their circadian rhythm? Often, parents are still using wake windows, which is preventing their child from getting on their optimal schedule that will make it naturally easier for them to fall asleep and naturally easier for them to sleep for longer stretches. Are they setting their child up for easier bedtimes and to be ready to fall into a high quality sleep with their evening activities leading up to bedtime and their bedtime routine? Are they handling wakings or short naps in a way that is least disruptive or stimulating? Are they being intentional about how they are handling any night feedings? While it's not always a cure all, there are often changes that you can make around your child's sleep that do not involve structured sleep training. And I really want to stress that for any of you who are feeling like sleep training's not for you, but sleep is a struggle, or sleep training's not something that you can get on the same page with your partner on right now, but something has to improve. There are other things you can do. While I certainly don't have the perfect solution for getting all parents on the same page about whether or not sleep training is the next best step for their family, I do often find that talking through it with a third party can help. If you're in this situation, you may want to both attend your child's next pediatrician appointment to discuss sleep and or connect with a sleep coach or maybe a few sleep coaches so that you can hear their thoughts and recommendations and how they could help you even if it's not around structured sleep training. Sometimes taking a step towards improving sleep is just about finding someone that you can work with, who you have confidence in and you can trust. And the reality is that may take a few conversations for you to find that person. It's kind of like how people talk about finding a therapist. The first person you talk to isn't always the best fit for your family. So I'll wrap up by sharing that if there's one thing that I have learned over the last 11 and a half years of being a parent, it's that parenting isn't always easy. And when you're in a tough spot, deciding on the next best step for your child is certainly challenging. At the end of the day, I hope that you can trust, and I'm always trying to remind myself of this, that you can do the research, you can talk to the experts, you can seek other people's opinions. And in fact, I encourage that. But at the end of the day, you know what is best for your family. And in case you need to hear this today, you are doing a great job. If you're interested in scheduling a free 15-minute get acquainted call with me or one of the other sleep coaches at Sleep and Wellness Coach, you can always visit www.sleepandwellnesscoach.com and then click Work with Us, and you can connect with someone. All right, here's to doing our very best to getting on the same page with our partners when it comes to challenging parenting decisions. All right, bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.